Oh, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday, happy day before the 4th of July, the auspicious day of July 3rd. My thought for you, right, the weekend of Independence Day is, it's a little bit corny, but I think every year around Independence Day of my favorite line from Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer Christmas movie, right? And the line is, "Let's be independent together." It's my favorite, right? That the characters say to each other, "Let's be independent together." And I think this is so fundamental in our yogic perspective that our ideas of liberation and our ideas of freedom and our ideas of what the world is or what the world isn't um, only works if everything is included, right? That's the yogic perspective, is that you don't get to divide, or you can't really divide. This is what the teachings are, is that everything is one, no matter how much you want to look at it as a bunch of different things, is that everything is united. And so the key to our liberation is not in saying, well, I'm doing this practice just for me, or I'm doing what I need to do just for me, and everybody else, you figure yourselves out, right? We have a little bit of that where we can let go of what isn't our job to carry. But to have this sense of redefining the world in which we live, internally, externally, but to redefine the world that you believe that you live in one where there are no divides, where you literally see all beings as an extension of your own self, or you see all beings as an extension of that same energy. We can talk about these things all day long, right? But until we start to actually internalize it and practice it as though it's real, nothing changes. Right? So our liberation is not based on just what we do for ourselves. It's on how much we include the whole world in the practices that we do, in the things that we do, thinking that it's just for ourselves, right? If it's for you, it's for everyone, right? If it's for you, it's for the world in general, right? So we start to take away that concept that there's something that you do for me that you wouldn't do for someone else, or that you wouldn't do on behalf of another being. So all of our teachings, whether it is mantra or from the Yoga Sutras or even our meditation practice, is this is what we're asked to do, is to be independent, right? Do your work in your way, but do it with this mentality that you are serving the entire world with that work, not just yourself, right? That by serving your own mind in this collective way, as you actually are taking care of the one, right? So making this real for ourselves often means we have to dissolve the world that we think we live in that's built on all of those separations. So comfortable seat, if you're not there already, and how we do that is, right, through meditation. How we do that is through mantra. How we do that is through finding where there is interconnectedness already in your experience, right? Instead of looking for separateness, we look for what brings us together. The eyes closed. And just for a moment, sitting with the mantra Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be free from suffering, be happy, be peaceful. And may I participate in that reality and bringing it about and maintaining it. In that thought, as you continue to sit with that feeling, may all beings include, bring into your mind all beings in whatever way you can. So think of the ants, mosquitoes, think of people of all colors, all orientations. Doesn't matter if you agree or not, just bring them in. Think of your cats, your dogs, fish, bacteria. Think of the water that creates the ocean and the rain. And think of the earth that are the mountains, that molten rock that we call lava. The air that you're breathing, that itself is like a being. You start to widen your perspective that everything is included, so that when you repeat the mantra Loka, right? Loka means world. It doesn't just mean beings, it means world, the entirety of being. May that be resonating with what it means to be at peace, what it means to be in bliss or have joy, and what it means to be free from those things that cause suffering. You don't have to know how it happens, but resonate that in yourself. We'll be independent together. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the whole world resonate with that. May the whole world be held in your own mind, in your own heart. So you never have to go looking for how do I serve. So you just do that. You hold the whole world in your mind and your heart, and then you do the work that you would do for yourself. Deep breath in. As you exhale, bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath again. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands. Let yourself come forward onto hands and knees. Good. Cat and cow. So starting to move the spine, inhaling, letting the spine get longer through the side body, exhaling, curling in, rounding through the shoulders. Good. Nice. Find your independence means that, your breath is your breath. Your experience is your experience, but that experience is integrated and interconnected with all of those other beings. Right? One of my favorite things to consider is that we're all breathing the same breath. Right? Where does your breath come from? It is the exhale of some other being. And as you exhale, that is being brought into another being's experience, right? So we share. So it means that every breath that you take, if your mind and your heart is in this alignment of all beings, I hope that they find their own independent way to being at peace, find happiness, to be free from their own personal forms of suffering. If every breath that you have is oriented in that direction, then you are always in service. You don't have to do anything elaborate. You just have to hold your mind and your heart there. And that's what, big essence of yoga is what's going on in your mind. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Spread your fingers wide. Step your feet back to plank pose, upward push-up. Good. So shoulders are over your wrists. That means your armpits are over your wrists. Good. And then there's just a little bit of a lift of your collarbone. So you let the tops of the bottom tips of your shoulder blades soften in just a little bit as you lift your chest up. Beautiful. And then from the low belly and from your hips, lift the hips up and press back to downward facing dog. So you pull up through the pelvis, bring the thighs back, exhale, soften down through the heels. Good. And then inhale yourself back to plank pose, please. You can even round up into your back a little bit as you bring your armpits forward, and then find where you lift your collarbones up and wide again. Good. And then from the low belly and the thighs, lift up, press back, downward facing dog, full exhale, softening through the heels. Good. Do that a couple more times, coming forward on the inhale, rising up a little taller, bringing the armpits forward, maybe rounding the back, but then finding where you lift your collarbones and spread the chest wide, shoulders back. And then lift the hips, press back, downward facing dog. Again, finding a full exhale. Nice. And then last time, come forward towards plank, lifting up through the armpits, rounding just a little bit into the back, and then finding where you are pulling those shoulder blades down towards your hips as your collarbones rise up. Good. And then lift the hips, press back, downward facing dog. Nice. Awesome, you guys. Step the right foot forward between the hands. Good. Step the left foot forward to meet it, standing forward fold. Good. Separate your feet as wide as your mat, toes facing straight ahead. Nice. Take your right hand to your left ankle, please. Left arm to, or left hand to your lower back. So as you press that hand into your sacrum, press your sacrum up into your hand, widen your thigh. So press that right thigh a little bit wider. Good. Nice. And then you're looking up and to the left, twisting the spine. Beautiful. Now take your left arm straight out from your shoulder. So it's going to parallel the floor. Yep. Good. So you have that sense of your arm is connected to your back. So now start to twist a little deeper, rotating the shoulder up as though you were going to reach that hand to the sky, but you're doing it from the rib cage. Nice. Press that right inner thigh wide. Good. And then release both hands down to the floor, please. Nice. Bend both knees, drop your hips back. So knees on top of ankles, butt goes back behind you. Walk your fingertips forward. Good. Like a squatting down dog. Beautiful. Cat cow your spine just a little bit, inhaling, lifting the chest, exhaling, curling in. Beautiful. Good. The liberation in yoga, moksha, is always described as being a dissolving of those things that we are sure are our boundaries, our limitations, our separation. And that as we dissolve that part of our mind that holds those things so firmly as true, then the world reveals itself to us. The interconnectedness reveals itself to us. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Walk your hands and straighten the legs. Good. And then take your left hand to your right ankle, right hand to your low back. Good. Press your sacrum up into the hand. So again, there's a little bit of a lift through your low belly. Nice. And then you're twisting open to the right. So you're turning the ribs. Good. Keep your left inner thigh pressing wide. Nice. Head falls slightly back towards that upper left-hand corner of your mat. There you go. And then stretch your right arm parallel to the floor. So straight out from your shoulder, straight out from your chest. Good. And then this is just to give you awareness, right? That there's strength in that arm. But now as you twist open more, move from your rib cage, move from the top of your chest. The arm goes wherever it goes to. So Nancy, don't let the hand move back towards your hip. Keep it right in line with your shoulder. And you're opening the rib cage more. Yeah. Nice, you guys. Good. Don't worry about the restriction. Just find yourself breathing into the space that you have. Awesome. And then release both hands down to the floor, please. Good. Again, bend the knees, drop the thighs back. Watch that the knees are not coming forward of the ankles. So bring your hips back instead. And then there's a feeling that you have to widen your inner thighs, but hug your shins towards each other. Scoop your belly, stretch your arms straight forward like you're in a, I don't know, we call it downhill skier, but take your butt back, lift your shoulders up in line with your hips. So it's like you have your back is parallel to the floor. Those are the words. Good. So butt presses back, arms straight out from the shoulders. Nice. And then scooping your belly just a little bit more, start to lift your shoulders up like you're coming into a wide-legged chair pose. Good. So you lift your shoulders up, dropping the hips, keep those thighs back. Yep, like you're in a wide-legged chair. There you go. Good. So you got to scoop your belly here. So if your lower back is arching a lot, pull those hip points in and up. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, straighten the legs and bow. Nice job. Heel toe your feet a little bit closer, please. Take your hands to your hips, come all the way up to stand. Nice. Hug your right knee up in towards your chest. Yep, squeeze. Good. Cross that thigh over the left one for eagle pose. So you're wrapping the right thigh over the left. Good. Bend your left knee a lot. So again, you're drawing the inner thighs together, but squeezing the shins. And then left arm comes over top of right in front of your chest. Wrap the arms as well. Good. As you press your shins together, try and lift your hip points again up off of your thighs. So it's a little lift of your low belly. Good. And then as you squeeze those shins, you're dropping your hips, but lifting your heart. So try to get more vertical, less of that forward bend. Good. So it's a little bit more work on the legs, but it's more length on your spine. So drop your hips, lift your heart. Beautiful. Nice, you guys. Last breath, breathe deep into the back of the shoulders, the back of the spine. Good. And then release, please, unwinding the legs, unwinding the arms. Awesome. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. Good. Take your right hand to hold your left wrist and then pull to your right. Side body stretch. Good. Again, breathing through the side ribs. Nice. Come on back up to center. Switch the hands, please, and reach to your left. Good. Now watch that your hip doesn't fall backwards. So move that right hip point slightly forward. Other way, Mark. There you go. Come all the way back up to center, please. Good. Release the hands. Hug your left knee up and towards your chest. Squeeze it in. And then cross that left thigh over the right, wrapping inner thigh, outer shin. Bend the right knee a lot. Good. So bending the right knee means that your butt still has to come slightly back behind your heel. And then you've got to lift up through those hip points. So belly up off of your thighs. And then arms wide. Take the right arm over top of the left in front of your chest. Good. Wrap the forearms. Nice. And then again, you're dropping straight down through the hips. You're dropping straight down through the pelvis, but you're lifting your low ribs in and up. Try and stay as vertical as you can. And again, you're pressing the shins together. That should be the greatest attention that you have with the legs, is trying to get the shins to rotate together. Good. And then bend those knees just a little bit deeper. Really good. Nice, Nancy. Nice, Laura. Good, Alana. And then unwind yourself, please. Release the legs, release the arms. Nice. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Good. Exhale, bow forward. Awesome. You guys step the right leg back behind you, lunge. Good. Drop the knee. Inhale the arms up to the sky, Anjaneyasana. If you need a blanket underneath that knee, make sure you have it. Good. Nice, you guys. Widen the front knee just a little bit so it's pointing just a little bit wider. There you go. Good, Diane. Excellent. And then lift the heart just a little bit higher. Breathe deep. Good. And then release the hands down to the inside of that front foot. Walk to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. Come on down to your forearms if that's available, or you can use blocks or stay on your fingertips, your choice. Good. Find full deep breaths. And the full deep breath again is breathing in. If they use this in a Tonglen style meditation practice, that you breathe in whatever you think your challenge is, and you breathe out what is the natural solution to that. Right? So you breathe in this feeling like, oh, wow, there's limitation here, but I breathe out that there's the possibility that that limitation does not have to define me. Is that there's still freedom even in this experience of limitation. Good. Again, we start to dissolve those places in our mind that keep putting up barriers, or that keep putting up walls. Buddhists say it's like we don't realize that we live in cardboard houses. And that all of those thought processes they're just cardboard, right? We think that they're so real and fundamental and immovable, but it's just cardboard. But as long as we believe that it is real and true, is that it will stay real and true. So can you practice breathing this way, where you are breathing in whatever feels like your limitation, but you're breathing out what feels like the ultimate solution to that limitation? Good. Walk yourself all the way back in. Nice. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee up. Keep the hands on either side of the front foot. Good. And then just keep that back heel lifted. Start to straighten your left leg. So you're just coming into a straight legged stretch. Back heel stays up off the floor. So your legs can stay as wide as they are, as long as they are. Good. Just really press into the feet. Pull your hips up and then bow deeply over that left leg. Good. And then bend the left knee again, please. Inhale the arms up to the sky, high lunge. Good. Stretch the arms out wide, and then take the right arm over top of the left in front of your chest, wrapping the arms for eagle again. Beautiful. Deep breath in, lift the elbows just a little bit higher. Feel the chest open. Good. Exhale, draw the elbows down and in, rounding into your back just a little bit. So again, pull the rib cage back in space. So not so much of a forward fold, just a rounding in. Good. And then inhale, lift the elbows up again, shoulders over top of the hips. Good. And then one more time, exhaling, bringing the elbows down and in, rounding into your back rib cage. Not too much of a forward motion with your shoulders, so stay upright. Good. And then come all the way back up. Inhale. Beautiful. Stretch the arms up alongside your ears. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Step your right foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight Parsvottanasana. Good. Use blocks underneath the hands if you need. Again, pressing into the feet so you have that lift of your low belly. And drawing up and back of the hips, the pelvis. Nice. Right, so it's one of those things where we say it's as simple as the way that you breathe or the way that you habitually think that makes the difference in the world. It's not even necessarily saying that you have to practice everything in the Yoga Sutras correctly, or you have to have absolutely all the time the right emotions, right attitude. All of that's important, but if you are simply breathing for the sake of all beings, right, that makes a difference. If in your own mind, in your own heart, there's no separation between you and other beings, that makes a huge difference. So these practices are great practices, but until we internalize them, until they feel like they are a reality to us, not something that we do, but something that we are, then we often stay stuck in that place of saying, I don't know. The world is the world and I'm just doing the best I can. And you figure yourself out. Keep that right hand on the floor, please, or on your block. Stretch your left arm straight out from your shoulder. Good. So a variation on, so Diane, out to the side. Yep, there you go. So a variation on revolved Trikonasana, right? Start to open the ribs towards the left, please. Stretching again that left shoulder higher and higher and higher, letting the arm stay in line with that shoulder. So you're not pulling back through the arm, but you're pressing down into that right hand. Good, and opening through your ribs, any amount. And it doesn't matter if you come all the way into what feels like a full twist or not. Good. And then release that hand back down to the floor, please. Nice job. Step back, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push-up. Again, maybe with that sensation of rounding your back a little bit first and then lifting through your collarbones. Good. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. And rise up cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Pointing the toes back behind you. Again, collarbones wide. Good. So there's a lift through the sternum rather than a pushing through the arms. Good. And then downward facing dog, please find your exhale. Good. Right foot steps forward between the hands. Drop the back knee. Use a blanket there if you'd like. Anjaneyasana. Inhale both arms up to the sky. Good. Again, watching that your knee is not falling inward, that it's in line second or third toe. So there's a little pushing wide. And as that knee pushes slightly wide, your right butt cheek can draw back and in. So I want you to also push your left hip wider to the left. So fun watching your cats. One more deep breath, heart to the sky. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Both hands inside the front foot. Walk to the upper left-hand corner of your mat. Come on down to your forearms if you'd like, or stay on fingertips or use blocks. Good. So mark way easier with the back knee on the floor. There you go. An interesting exercise. Sometimes it's said that one of the practices, yogi practices, is to actually place yourself in, the reality of another being. Is that if you looked at the entire world from the perspective of your cat, or the perspective of your dog, or the perspective of a mosquito, the perspective of, anything that you choose, is that what would the world look like? What would freedom look like? What would happiness look like? What would fulfillment look like? And the interesting exercise is to start to eliminate that place where we assume that what we think are those things for ourselves is going to work for everyone. So somehow there's one way to be that experience of peace and happiness and freedom from suffering. And no, there's infinite ways to do that, infinite ways into that experience. So we dissolve in our mind this concept that the way it makes sense for us independently is the only way that there is. And we start to look for, how can I breathe this in a way, or how can I live this in a way that includes the possibility for all other beings to find it as well, that my freedom does not exclude someone else's freedom. My happiness does not exclude another being's happiness, even if it's a mosquito. One more breath. All right. Walk yourself all the way back up onto your hands, please. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee up. Hands can frame the front foot. Good. And then keeping your back heel lifted, start to straighten your front thigh. So just pull the hips high towards the sky. And as you do, lengthen your spine over that front thigh. Good. So you're pulling the hips way up and back. Good. You're lifting your right low belly higher and wider, spinning your left hip point forward. Good. And then bend that front knee again, please. Come into high lunge. Inhale, both arms to the sky. I think that was a good choice, Laura. Cat out of the room. Good. Draw the knee a little wider. Yeah, there you go. And then stretch your arms out wide, please. Left arm comes over top of right in front of your chest, wrapping the forearms for eagle. Good. So you're letting your front knee stay over the front ankle. Again, Nancy, watch that knee. Don't let it fall in. Inhale, lift the elbows just a little higher. And then as you exhale, again, don't drop your shoulders. Just round your back just a little bit. Draw those elbows in towards the low part of your rib cage. Round, 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 round. There you go. Nice, Alana. And then inhale the arms back up, please. Giving a little lift to the elbows. Stretch the shoulders, still wrapped in eagle. And then exhale, bring the elbows down and in. Good. Again, giving that little bit of a extra stretch to the lower spine, not the lower spine, the lower rib cage, lower shoulders. Good. And then inhale back up to center, please. Unwind the arms to the sky. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Good. Step your left foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight Parsvottanasana, using blocks underneath the hands if you need. And same thing, as you press into the feet, you're lifting your right low belly a little higher and wider, letting that left hip draw in and forward. Good. And try and find a little bit of a longer line on your side body from your armpit to your hip. Nice. And then keeping the left hand where it is on the block or on the floor, wherever it's resting. Take your right arm straight out wide from your shoulder. Good. And then start to come into the twist from the lowest part of your belly, right? Moving the shoulders, reaching that right shoulder up and up and up and up as the left shoulder draws down. Good. Find your twist. Good. So Nancy, try to bring that hand forward more so you keep the arm in line with your shoulder. There you go. Yep. And then you open through the upper chest. Good. So I don't mind if you feel like, this twist is not the way that I like to do it. I want you to really find the twist from the core of you instead of from the arm. Good. Release that hand back down to the floor, please. Nice job. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Good. Bring the feet together, please. Vasisthasana, right side. So right hand holds you, right baby toe holds you. Stack the left leg on top, left arm to the sky. Good. Having this feeling of pushing down into that right hand, so you're pulling everything up away from the floor, and then draw your rib cage in. Good. And then release back to plank pose. Nice. Deep breath in, then go to the other side, stacking onto the left arm, left shoulder, left baby toe. Right arm comes to the sky. Throat goes back. Chest opens wide. Good. And then release back to plank pose. Inhale. Nice. Drop your right knee down to the floor, please, underneath your right hip. Take your left heel flat to the floor, and then take the left arm up to the sky. Good. So you're breathing in wide through the chest. And then as you exhale, wrap that left arm forward in front of you. So take it underneath your rib cage, like you're reaching back and underneath behind that right arm. So squeeze in, curl into your ribs. So other way, Diane, like you're reaching in front of you. There you go. And then take that arm back up to the sky, unwind. Good. Exhale, bring it forward and around again, rounding into your back rib cage, keeping that left heel flat on the floor. Good. Stretch the arm back up. Nice. And then one more time, bring it around and forward. So again, you're curling into your back rib cage here, reaching underneath as much as you can, as though there's something under you that you have to reach for. You're trying to get to that underside of your right shoulder blade. Good. And then come all the way back up, unwind. Excellent. And then release back to hands and knees, please. Do a little bit of cat and cow. Just move the spine, move the shoulders. Good. And then come back to stillness, please. Keeping the left knee underneath your left hip. Take your right leg back behind you. Drop the heel. And then take the right arm up to the sky. Good. So it's a pressing through that left hand, opening the chest as much as you can. So really rotate the shoulders open. Good. And then as you exhale, wrap that right arm in front of you, underneath the left armpit, reach around underneath you. So again, rounding into your ribs, and then take that right arm all the way back up, opening the chest again, opening the shoulders. Good. And then bring that arm forward and around again, squeezing under. Nice. And then take the arm all the way back up. Good. And then one more time, bringing it forward and around, rounding into your ribs. So don't forget that you're actively rounding. Good. And then stretch that arm all the way back up to the sky. Nice. And then release that hand down to the floor. Good. Spin your back heel up, step back to plank pose. Good. And again, feet together, hips lift just a little bit higher. Vasisthasana, roll onto that right side again. Right hand holds you, right baby toe holds you, left arm to the sky. Little trickier here, so you might still have to drop the back knee if this doesn't feel stable, but deep breath in, wrap that left arm up forward in front of you, same way that you did with your knee on the floor. Wrap it around behind that right armpit, squeeze in and round. Good, and then extend that arm back up towards the sky. Again, you can drop the bottom knee here if you need. Bring the arm forward around in front of you again. Rounding, squeezing, still in Vasisthasana, left arm up to the sky. Good, really good. One more time, you guys, bring it forward and around in front of you. This is not easy to do, so if you find yourself not loving it, I understand. Take the arm back up to the sky. Good, release back to hands and knees, please, or back to plank, and then drop the knees to the floor. Take a child's pose, so you rest your shoulders for a second. I know. I know. Right, so there's the importance of our independent work. We can't substitute and say, well, I'm doing this for you, not for me. That doesn't work. We can't do it that way. We have to understand our own pathway to what we are seeking for the world, which is, if it is to be at peace, if it is to experience joy, if it is to unwind the causes of our suffering, then we have to do that for ourselves. But we do it in a way and with a mentality that we are not doing it for ourselves exclusively. And it's that thought that we are not doing it for ourselves exclusively that keeps us in a practice of service, or that keeps us in that state of interconnectedness. Come all the way back up to hands and knees. Step yourself back to plank pose. Good. Again, a little bit of a lift of the hips here is totally fine coming into Vasisthasana. So you want this feeling of the inner thighs lifting, of the belly lifting, of the ribs drawing in. You want that. So go ahead and then come onto your left baby toe. Left arm holds you, right arm to the sky. And again, if you need to drop the bottom knee here back to the floor, totally fine. So as you exhale, bring that right arm in front of you, wrap it around underneath your left rib cage, round into your back body. Good. And then take that right arm back up to the sky. Good. And then bring it forward again, rounding into your back body. So again, you're trying to keep your hips stacked as much as you can, but you're rotating the shoulders. And then take the right arm back up to the sky. Hard to do because you're also using the shoulders, right? Right arm comes forward one more time, wrap it around. Good, rounding, rounding, rounding. And then take that right arm back up to the sky. Really good. And then come all the way back to plank pose, lift the hips, press back, downward facing dog. Nice job. Bend your knees in your down dog. So as you bend your knees, you can pull your hips back more, your thighs back more. You get that long, long extension on your shoulders where the arms meet the upper back. Good. And then let the legs start to come back towards straight. Nice job. Right foot steps forward between the hands. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky, high lunge. Nice. Stretch your arms out wide. Letter T, and then left arm comes over top of right in front of your chest, wrapping the arms for eagle again. Good. And then keeping those armpits drawing back, take your chest forward, parallel to the floor, arms still in eagle. So don't let your arms collapse into your chest. And then step yourself up into warrior three, arms wrapped in eagle. So that left thigh comes up parallel to the floor. Yep. Good. One more breath, turning that outer left hip down. Good. Unwind the arms, stretch your arms out wide, letter T, still in that warrior three. I know. Good. Lift your chest a little higher, like you're pressing down through the hands to lift your chest. Excellent. And then stretch your arms straight forward alongside your ears. Go. Breathe. Yep. And then step back to high lunge. Good. Watch out for small children behind you. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor. Most of you are like, what? Left hand reaches to the floor, right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. And then release that hand down to the floor, please. Both hands inside the front foot, please. Walk to the upper left-hand corner of your mat. Keep the back knee lifted this time if you can. Good. And just for a breath or two, let your hips get a little lower. Nice. Good, you guys. Walk the hands all the way back in, please. And then step back to downward facing dog. Oh, your screens are so exciting this morning, you guys. Good. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Good. Inhale the arms to the sky, high lunge. Take your arms out wide. Good. And then right arm crosses over top of left in front of your chest. Wrap the arms, eagle. Good. And then bring your chest forward, parallel to the floor, keeping the arms wrapped. You're going to step up onto that left leg. Take your right leg up parallel to the floor. Good. Nice. Draw the low rib cage in. Turn that right hip down towards the floor. Turn your toes down towards the floor. Nice job, Ronan. Good. And then take your arms out wide. Sorry, don't step back. Take your arms out wide. There you go. Low ribs in. And then stretch your arms straight forward alongside your ears. Kick that back thigh higher. That's going to stabilize you. That's it. And then step it all the way back to high lunge. Deep breath in, heart to the sky, mind away from whatever you were worried about. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor. Awesome. Both hands inside the front foot. Actually, come into the twist first. Sorry about that. Right hand plants, left arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Again, rotating from your shoulder. So your weight should be almost falling back onto that right hand so that you really have the sensation of your rib cage opening and that left wrist is not back behind your shoulder. It's in line with your shoulder. Good. And then release the hand to the floor, both hands inside the front foot. Walk the hands to the upper right-hand corner of your mat, keeping the back knee lifted if you can, front knee right over the ankle. So again, you have the opportunity here to draw that left butt cheek under just a little bit. So you send that left thigh a little deeper into the lunge. Good. So it's like the hips are dropping, but not because they're collapsing. And then you lift your chest up because you've dropped your hips. Yeah. It's just for a breath or two. Good. Nice, you guys. And then walk your hands all the way back in, please. Step yourself forward, top of your mat. Good. Separate your feet as wide as the mat. Turn the toes out 45 degrees. Both feet bend. Your knees come down, squat. No more eagle, I promise. Right hand to the floor, left arm to the sky, twist. Open twist. Good. Again, watching that you are moving from your shoulder. So let that hand fall slightly forward, but move your shoulder back. Good. And then try and reach that left butt cheek down towards the floor. So you're lifting through your low belly, but dropping your seat. Good. And then release and switch, taking the left hand down inside that left leg, right arm up to the sky. So the left forearm is anchoring that left shin. Good. Keeps the knee a little wider so that you can, again, curl into your low belly, drop your seat a little bit more, widen those inner thighs. Good. Move from your shoulder, not your arm. That's it. Nice, Mark. Good, Diane. Good, Harriet. And then release the hand back down to the floor. Good. Drop your seat gracefully. Come on down to sit. I know. Stretch your legs out wide. Upavista Konasana. A wide angle. Good. Like a panoramic angle. Leave nothing out. Good. Turn your belly towards that right leg, please. One hand on either side of the thigh. Good. Deep breath in. Get a little taller. Make sure your feet are engaged so your toes are not falling in or out. They're straight up. Good. And then start to walk yourself forward over that right thigh. Good. Turning that left rib cage forward. Right low belly goes wide. It's a phrase, that panoramic view, that we're asked sometimes to use as a reference for our mind. And it's just to make our state of attention much more inclusive. You start to have a thought for the other beings that share your world, the other beings that share the world, because maybe they think that you're just sharing theirs. We are independent together, but the more narrowly we define the world for ourselves, more narrowly we are then defining how the world is supposed to work for others. So panoramic, you get wider, include more. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Good. Turn your belly towards the other thigh, so towards the left. Again, one hand on either side. Keep the sit bones rooted down. Good. Make sure your feet are still doing what you want them to. And then walk yourself straight ahead. Good. Turning that right low belly, right rib cage forward. Left low belly goes a little wider to the left. Nice. So every breath is including the possibility of a world that naturally comes to a state where all beings are at peace. And all beings have their own definition of happiness. And all beings are not confined by the things that we call suffering. And that you start that by understanding the way that you contribute to those things. You contribute to your own suffering, you contribute to your own freedom. You start to become aware of that. And then as you do the things that help free yourself, you remember that you're doing it with the thought that may all beings find their way. And that your efforts are never to get in their way, but to open the door for them to find what you yourself are finding. We are independent together. Walk yourself all the way back up. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Press down through your heels. And as you press down through your heels, don't lock your knees. So as your heels press down, your knees get a little softer. Good. And then you're finding those inner thighs drawing slightly back. Start to lean forward. Take your forward fold. Arms stay alongside your ears. So don't drop them forward beyond your shoulders. Keep them up. The idea here is that you're really reaching from your armpits. The arms are that extension of the armpits, the extension of the heart center. Good. Nice. So one more breath, pressing down and wide through the thighs, extending through the spine. Good. And then let the hands touch down to the floor wherever they reach. Let yourself relax into the forward fold, dropping onto your elbows if you'd like. Keeping your feet awake. I imagine, the quintessential sort of announcer voice for movie trailers that always begin, in a world that this summer, in a world where all beings may be peaceful, all beings may be free. All beings are free from suffering. What kind of events fit in that movie? Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Good. Bend your knees, please. Bring the bottoms of the feet together into Baddha Konasana. Good. And again, finding that seat where maybe you are wiggling your butt slightly back. Inhale the arms up to the sky again. Good. Curl the toes back away from each other so your feet are really engaged. Press down through the baby toes. And you have a little bit of this feeling of squeezing the knees up and towards each other so that you can press your butt slightly back. So your knees go up, but your groins go down. Good. And then start to lean forward between the knees. Keep the arms in line with your shoulders. So again, you're extending, not dropping the arms, but reaching forward from the armpits, drawing back through your thigh creases. Good. And keeping those knees squeezing up just a little bit, because again, that's going to hold you, that's going to stabilize. Beautiful. Good. One more breath. Extend just a little longer. And then let the hands touch down to the floor. Again, relaxing into your forward fold. Nice. Letting the shoulders soften and widen, letting your chest feel more open. Upper back feels more open. Maybe it's not any looser, but you simply release the tension of trying to get the stretch to be somewhere that it isn't. Good. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Reach for your ankles. So still in Baddha Konasana, reach for your ankles and then come up onto balance on your sit bones, tippy toes to the floor. So knees come up, holding your ankles. And then finding that balance point, lifting long through your spine, take your legs out and wide, holding your ankles. Good. If the legs can't come to straight, that's okay. Keep the knees bent, but hold the ankles, find your balance. You got it. Nice, nice, nice. Chest open. So especially if you're holding your ankles, you almost want to bend your elbows so you lift your chest even higher. Beautiful. And then if you've really got it, right, maybe stretch your arms up alongside your ears and just hold the legs with the strength of your legs. You got it, Harriet. Nice, Nancy. Good, Alana. You got it, you got it, you got it. Nice, Mark. Good, Diane. Awesome. And then bend the knees again. Bring the bottoms of the feet back together, back to Baddha Konasana. Wow. Beautiful. And then go ahead and scoot yourself forward, please. Come on down to your backs. That was your big finishing move. Yeah, come on down. Good. Bending the knees, planting your feet. Breathing with your bridge pose, so arms are alongside you. As you inhale, lift your hips and stretch your arms up alongside your ears so you get full stretch from your hips to your fingertips. Good. And then as you exhale, release the hips down, release the arms back down alongside you. Good. And then keep going. Inhaling, lifting the hips, stretching the arms up until your hands find the floor alongside your ears, and then releasing the hips, releasing the arms on the exhale. Good. So keep going, breathing yourself super long on the inhale, exhaling completely as you drop yourself back to your starting position. I've recently started taking harmonium lessons. Finally going to learn how to play the darn thing. And what I like is that my teacher, and some of you know him, it's Steve, who's taught at the studio before, and you've probably seen him around, but he's a musician by design. It's how he's designed. So he's teaching me to play harmonium, and his thought is, as he's teaching me chords, as he says, this is, you find that C chord or that C major chord, and he says, it's like coming home. He says, no matter where else you go, you travel through all of these other places, all these other things, but then you find yourself maybe hitting wrong notes, and then you come back to that chord and you're like, there you are. I've been thinking so much about that being a metaphor for how we go about our lives, is that we hit wrong notes all the time. We think that we're going the right way, and then things don't go well, or we hit those limitations, those obstacles, those walls. We think there's no way that this is ever going to go somewhere good, but then you just keep moving, right? You just keep breathing and you find your way. Eventually you fall back into that, here it is, home. And home in the yogic sense is that feeling of where there is a natural state of peace, a natural state of happiness, a natural state where suffering simply is not what defines you. So you do your practice, it's like walking those notes on a keyboard, right? As you just keep messing around until you find where that state exists naturally. And when you hit it, you say, there I am, I'm home. And you might fall out of it a bunch of times before you stay. Next time you exhale, release the hips to the floor, stay. Right? This is the practices that we might fall out of that state over and over and over again. But the more we're breathing, the more we're practicing, is we also might fall into that state over and over and over again. And that's the grace. And so you do whatever is in your independent individual life to do. But in your mind and your heart, you hold that interconnectedness to be as important as your own happiness, your own peace, your own end of suffering. And then you're always in service to the world, right? A world where that's all that exists for all beings. Independent together. Good. Draw your knees in towards your chest, please. So I lied, one more eagle pose. Draw your right thigh on top of your left, wrapping the shins, and take your left arm over top of the right in front of your chest. Eagle on your back. Good. And really what I think is the power of this pose is that it spirals you in, right? That's the engagement of the legs, the arms, that spirals everything in. Good. So the extension of your heart and your mind is what comes out into the world. So however the actions are occurring, it's what's in your heart and your mind that is feeding those actions. So the practice is, yeah, what you do in the world, but the practice is also what goes on in your mind and your heart. Good. Unwind everything. Stretch the arms to the sky, stretch the legs to the sky. Good. Deep breath. And then switch sides. Take the left thigh on top of the right. Take your right arm over top of the left. Good. Eagle on your back. The other side again, focusing on shins pressing together. And if your heels are angled in one direction or the other, try and bring them to where they are in a straight line with your hips. And if you have no idea if you're doing that or not, just do your best to try and guess. Good. Nice, you guys. Not letting the hands fall onto the face. So again, you have that feeling that the shoulders are still doing a little work. Beautiful. Have you relaxed here yet? No? One more breath then. Good. And then unwind, legs to the sky, arms to the sky. Nice. Bend your knees wide. Reach for the feet or the ankles for happy baby. Beautiful. Ananda Balasana. It's the Sanskrit. Blissful baby, blissful child. Good. And then bring the bottoms of the feet together, please. Good. Drawing the heels in towards the groin just for a breath. Keep the knees angled up towards the armpits. So again, you find the wideness of the lower back. Good. And then let the feet come to the floor, please. Supine Baddha Konasana. Let the knees go wide. Good. And letting the arms rest alongside you. Find your breath getting a little deeper. This might be the place that you stay for Shavasana. So if that is your choice, you can stay right where you are. At any point that you want to change the position of the legs into more of a traditional Shavasana position, feel free to do that. Let your breath be with that mentality that you are breathing in the fullness of your experience, all of challenges, the limitations, whatever is there. Breathing in that. And you're breathing out the experience of wholeness, completeness, the answer to those questions, the answer to those problems. Even if you have no definition for what you're breathing in or you're breathing out, you just know that you're breathing in the experience that you have that includes limitation, and you are breathing out the experience of freedom. Whatever that means, however it appears. When the mind gets tired of doing that, then you just breathe. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. The body begin to stretch, move, whatever ways serve you well. And as you're ready, draw the knees in towards your chest and roll to the right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away, coming back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. So there are a million practices that we can do in service to ourselves and service to other beings. But one of the fundamental realizations is to know that the practices are not enough if inside you're still believing in a world that has those separations, or believing in a world where happiness or freedom exists for some but not all, that we're not including certain beings, or we're not including certain aspects of the world. So I'm not just talking people, I'm talking animals, I'm talking the environment, I'm talking insects, I'm talking, what we see and what we don't see. So if inside we're not internalizing these practices as real, we're not really feeling that the actions that we take are not just for our benefit, but for all, the benefit of all. That my idea of happiness and peace and freedom is one that includes your peace and happiness and freedom too. Then we miss the essence of these practices. We miss the essence of these teachings. So if you do nothing else, start to breathe in a way where you are breathing the world, your own interpretation of the world, in a way where all beings, whatever it takes for them to be happy, whatever it takes for them to be at peace, whatever it takes for them to be free from suffering, that is what comes into the world. And that you will do your part in it to create that world, to maintain that world, to sustain that world. And maybe it starts by dissolving inside yourself the places where you have forgotten that other beings share the world that you live in. So you breathe that in completely, that you are breathing this world, freedom, peace, happiness, independently for you, but with the mentality that your efforts make it easier for other beings to find their way also. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entirety of being, the entirety of the world, find itself, even accidentally, in that state where it is at peace, where there is happiness, and where the reasons for suffering no longer define us, and therefore suffering does not bind us. Let's just breathe that. Inhale for the sound of Om. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend. Heads up tomorrow. I am teaching my regular class at 9:30 in studio and online. I won't be doing meditation that day, but 9:30 class is on, and that's the only class for the day tomorrow. So enjoy the rest of the holiday.